Good evening, and welcome to This Week in Joe's Basement. I'm Joe, and this is my basement. So, this week in Joe's Basement, we're going to respond to our third viewer call-in show, Spot the Liar, and learn something about the history of communication. But first, some viewer mail. Before we get into the mail this week, actually, I have a small request, which is, some of you may have noticed, the kinds of snack food that I usually eat at the beginning of the show, right? Like Doritos, which I'm not allowed to advertise, especially since they're by the Frito-Lay Corporation, which is, well, anyway. Well, it's been, this is our 33rd show, as you noticed the title at the beginning, and not much variety in the kind of things I've had to eat. I'm getting kind of sick of these same old chips every week. So if you people out there in television land would like to make a contribution to my diet and the visual design of this show, if you send me something of reasonably small size and fit for human consumption, I will eat it before introducing Joe's Basement. I think I left some loopholes there, but we'll see how imaginative you guys are. All right. Anyway, so the mail. The main item on our agenda, mail-wise here, is we got another letter from King Zeke, known to experienced viewers of This Week in Joe's Basement as King Zeke Donald Billingsley from planet Zarkon-Frolinger, who has a rich and varied history of writing rather intriguing blank verse to This Week in Joe's Basement. We first met him at episode 22, More Women on the Show. We searched for him at his inhabitants' place where people live is habitation. We searched for him at his habitation underneath Lower Goose Island in episode 24, Moonblob. He complained to us about his problems in school in episode 27, Mark's Basement, and finally in episode 29, Shooting Things. We assigned a panel of experts, to try to figure out who is this King Zeke and what does he mean. Anyway, so here we go. We got this King Zeke from his usual address at the Institute for Psychoanalysis. He sent me a package, envelope within an envelope, which he instructs me to open delicately, and gives me a bunch of items. They look like clues to me. Ad for a compact disc store, can't advertise on Access, stress tester, and I test as being count of 10. Well, anyway, I test as being relaxed. That's nice. Picture two cats, one on top of the other. One looks stuffed, the other real. A little piece called Footprints seems to be a piece of scripture on a 3x5 business card. A lotto ticket that didn't win with key numbers circled. What does this mean? Well, King Zeke, always one to allow us to find room for interpretation in his works, proceeds to do his best to explain on some bifurcated King Zeke special stationery. He says, "Hi, Joe. I'm free. My drug brother Hal told the psycho man to re-examine himself." And for re-examine, he instructs me that I can substitute the F word. "Mr. UFC needs self-therapy," says Hal the Looper. He's responding to a psychiatrist who is one of our panel of experts, along with a psychic. Let's see, who else did we have? We had a psychiatrist, a psychic, a mailman, and a school teacher or disciplinarian. Examine the letters by King Zeke and try to figure out what this person is like. Anyway, he goes on to explain, "Tell Mr. UFC psychiatric genius, I'm 13-year-old today. I take my Zarkon-Frolinger age pills to be whatever age I, King Zeke, want to be." Hal just yelled, "Put that in his psycho pipe and smoke it. Ta-ta, King Zeke." Wait, he also encloses another letter, which is on Civilization at Risk, Challenge of the 90s stationery. And it appears to be from Squirman Herman Billingsley, the Reverend Squirman Herman, who is King Zeke's father, who, being a reverend, decides to give us some theological and philosophical advice. Direct from Herman's heavenly verse book. Herman tells us that God judges people, not psychiatrists judging people. Psychiatrists make money. Money is the root of all evil. And then he adds a little footnote there to clarify. He says, only when used poorly. On the other side, Squirman Herman proceeds to evaluate our panel of experts. He says, tell Psycho Man to get a stamp collection. It may help his troubled mind. Mark is cool on your show, referring to Mark Audrain, Joe's Basement regular, and his portrayal of the entomologist. Mr. Crystal Man is cool and relaxing. Mr. Postman is a loving human being. Joe, you are the greatest along with King Bee of Magic 104. Hymn letters need more love. Oh, Mr. Psycho is trying to boost his profession. Joe, don't you agree? All right, with that final word from the Reverend Squirman Herman, the Reverend and King Zeke get the final word on our panel of experts to determine who is King Zeke, where is he from, and what does he mean. Well, so much for that. Well, the fame of King Zeke has spread so far and wide that he seems to have even spawned King Zeke impersonators, or imitators, I should say, or spin-offs, as we say in the TV biz. We got another letter here on rather inadequately rendered King Zeke special stationery. It says, Dear Joe, how are you? How are your feet? Fine, I hope. Joe, I find your show very informing and funny. I also have a curiosity for your feet. Do they talk? Do they drink Miller Lite beer? Are they sexually active? Inquiring minds want to know. I saw the episode on Kenwood High School and I enjoyed it. I was hoping you would do a show on them again. I also understand you went to Kenwood because I, too, went and emerged from the depths of Kenwood. Depths, basement, whatever. My feet also graduated. Did yours? I would also like to see your whole basement, if possible. Please respond. Inquiring minds are watching. Peace out. Yours truly, King Willie. All right. I think what we have here is an attempt to be slightly mysterious that's not really up to King Zeke standards. I mean, come on, it's typewritten. I mean, you know, how personal and eccentric can we expect that to be? So, anyway, that was King Willie. Right. So, last week in Joe's Basement, we had our third viewer call-in show, which we called Spot the Liar. And the basic framework for that show was an exercise in which you saw three guys, Mo, Gus, and Woody, talk about their experiences at a party which they claimed to have attended, and the exercise was to spot the liar on Joe's Basement. Well, for those of you who saw that episode, you know that that was essentially a wild goose chase, because in fact, these three guys who were scrutinizing for the bulk of the show were in fact all telling the truth, at least as much as anyone's ever telling the truth, especially when they're really wasted after coming back from a party. We did, however, get the opportunity to see how you people out there in television land responded when asked to scrutinize someone to spot if they are lying. And votes were pretty much evenly divided among the three of them, which is not much of a surprise since it was pretty random from a systematic standpoint. But here's what people had to say when asked to spot the liar. What?
Give me a chip.
Sure thing, Paul. Ooh, shit. Well, I hit your glasses at least.
So, you know, I have a regular girlfriend, and I like her a lot. But still, you go to a party like this, and there are women, you know, and it looks like it's a show us your breasts party. And, of course, you know, your libido kicks into overdrive, and you can't help it. And it was interesting. There were a lot of people there, a lot of people I knew, and a lot of people I didn't know.
Hello.
Yeah, I can spot the liar.
Okay, who do you think the liar is?
Mo.
You think it's Mo? How come?
I just can tell just by the way he's carrying himself. Just keeps on bragging.
He was pretty drunk at the time.
Good evening, Joe's Basement. Joe speaking.
Yeah, Joe?
Yes.
got, can you spot the liar there, right?
Yes, that's right.
And that's spelled L-I-A-R, right?
That's right.
Okay, so I'd have to say that Mo is the liar.
You think so?
I think so.
Well, Mo's right next to me, and he's not too pleased to be called a liar.
Oh.
Why do you think he's lying?
I don't think he's lying because a person who was lying or telling lies is spelled L-I-E-R. Now a liar is like a lion's den, the way it's spelled on the screen. Well, it was L-I-A-R. Therefore, I consider Mo as being a closet, or, in other words, a lion, a den. You know what I'm saying? Like
I see. So you think that, in fact, we've asked you to spot the lair this week in Joe's basement?
Exactly.
Okay. Well, you're the first viewer to hit upon such a nuance. I think if you consult your dictionary, that you'll see that my spelling is, in fact, correct.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay, I should have done that before I called.
So then I kind of lost track of him. I mean, my mind was wasted from all the dope and stuff and all the beer I was drinking, and I was kind of like wandering around, and you know, I try to speak, and like only 4 words come out. And
yeah, it was Gus. Gus is the liar.
You think Gus is a liar? How come?
Oh, well, the other two had their stories straight.
She thinks Gus is the one who's lying.
That's it. They seem to. Gus looks like a liar too. Gus is a born liar.
Okay, have you spotted the liar?
Yeah.
Who is it?
Gus.
Gus?
Yeah.
How come?
He's not telling the truth.
I'm sorry?
He's just not telling the truth.
He's not telling the truth.
No.
So by this you were able to deduce that he's the liar, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, how old are you?
I'm 21.
No, but see, Gus is really telling the truth. And Mo and Woody are lying because you can never really trust a smoker.
Oh, you can't trust? I got a cigarette in my mouth right now, okay? You know, I don't take kindly to that.
No, but you can. You can't trust a smoker.
L-I-A-R actually means a person who lies.
Who is not telling the truth? I believe so, yes.
You believe so, huh?
Yes.
Well, I happen to have a dictionary right in my hand.
Okay, why don't you look it up?
Okay.
I can't. My colleagues are flabbergasted that you would expect that we would ask somebody to spot the lair this week on Joe's
Sure.
basement.
what's their pick of women? Girls? Students? Young girls?
Woody's lying.
Woody's lying?
Woody's definitely lying
How can you tell?
because he thinks too much.
Yeah? So people who think too much tend to be lying?
He's lying.
You're sure of it then, huh?
It's positive. I'd bet money.
You sound like a man who leaves little room for doubt.
I'm positive.
That confirms it. Well, if you keep watching at the end of the show, you'll see for sure who the liar is. What's your name?
My name Michael.
Michael?
Woody, though. Woody's lying.
Yeah, I'm looking at Woody.
Who do you think's telling the truth and who do you think's lying?
I think Woody is.
You think Woody's lying?
No, I think he's telling the truth.
So you think Gus and Mo are lying? Both of them?
Yeah.
How come?
'Cause Woody seems more honest. Leapfrog.
Okay.
Leisurely. Levitate. L-I-F-E. Life. I want L-I-A.
He's looking it up in the dictionary.
Okay, I got L-I-A-B, L-I-A-N.
Now, there's definitely a word
There
L-I-A-R.
you go.
Yes,
you're right. Person who tells lies.
Yes.
L-I-A-R.
There you
All right,
go.
well then, I can't change my guess, can I?
No, I'm afraid you're irrevocably locked into that one single guess.
Man, what if I hung up and called back?
Then we might be able
Okay,
to grant you that.
Bye.
Bye.
What?
You think Woody's the liar?
Yeah, I think Woody's the liar.
How come?
Because he's just, I don't know, he seems like he's lying.
Okay, well, actually you're wrong. All 3 of them are telling the truth.
All 3 of them are
All 3 of
telling
them were there, yeah.
the truth? Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Well, then how can you win?
Well, you know, you can't win all the time.
How can you spot the liar?
Well, you spotted the liar, didn't you?
Yeah.
Just you were wrong, right?
Hello, and welcome to yet another in our series of science lectures here on Joe's Basement. This week, the way we communicate. Part 1, the history of communication. The history of communication would begin with the transmission of DNA between generations. Monads, such as blue-green algae, transmit enough information to allow a duplicate of themselves to continue to function and produce further copies. This asexual communication of information was the only information for over 1 billion years. The next step in the evolution of communication, sexual reproduction, first occurred over 3.5 billion years ago. By this method, eukaryotic cells were able to pass the information of two creatures into one, thus allowing for something or other. At the same time, the communication through touch became necessary. When two protists met, they felt each other out to determine whether they were suitable organisms with which to mate. These organisms would stroke cilia, whip each other with their flagella, passing only simple information such as, I am an amoeba, let's mate. Soon after, hormones began to carry information. Multicellular organisms needed to be able to communicate between cells within their bodies. So, they passed chemicals which conveyed messages. Sea anemones, for instance, use a chemical agent to alert cells that food is present, that the cells should move together to hold food in. Humans still use hormones. Sea anemones, for instance, use a chemical agent to alert the cells that food is present and that the cells should move together to hold food in. Humans still use hormones to raise the body temperature to protect against infection, for example. Soon, organisms used pheromones to communicate with each other. Monads and protists began the practice of releasing complex Soon, organisms used...
Not I, okay. How long have you been watching?
I don't know how long I've been watching. For a long time, since the beginning of the year, I think.
Okay.
And how long have you been on?
We've been on for over a year.
Yeah, maybe about then. Since the summer, I think.
Okay.
It's my favorite show. I don't watch anything else.
Great, you don't watch anything else.
I really don't watch anything else.
Well, right into all the networks, please, and tell them that.
Joe's Basement.
Hi, I'm just watching the show, and I think it's really distasteful to show those pornographic pictures on the TV, especially, I mean, my kids are asleep, but other kids might be awake at this time.
Well, we're not the only people who do it. I mean, you'll find that on almost all cable channels. That's because it's after 11:30.
But they don't show graphic pictures like that.
You want to bet?
I mean, I watch cable TV, you know.
So I take it that's a no vote, huh?
Pardon me?
That's a no vote, huh?
A no vote for the photographic pictures, yeah.
For the, what do you think of the show otherwise?
Oh, you know, it's actually fairly entertaining. I mean, it's not like full of excitement. It's entertaining.
Good evening, Joe's Basement. Joe speaking. You're on the air.
Hello.
Hello, this is Joe.
Hi.
Hi, what's your name?
Jeanette.
Jeanette? How you doing, Jeanette?
I'm fine. We're watching your show.
That's the good. Is this the first time watching Joe's Basement?
Yes, it is. It's really weird.
It's really weird.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you managed to spot the liar yet?
No, well, I'm not really paying attention to that. I'm not sure.
What do I have to do to get my voice played on the TV?
Get your voice played on the TV?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, we're recording your voice right now, so say something really silly and maybe we'll put it on.
Something really silly?
Yeah.
Like, have you ever, played drinking game in the middle of a big field with lots of cops around drinking green stuff, for no reason at all, to see how drunk you can get? Then put, girls' underwear on your head and run around in a circle?
Okay, we'll put that on the air, I guess.
Telling stories about Indians that used to live there. Getting really messed.
Joe, I want to know what the color of the sky is in your world.
In my world, the sky is blue, just as in yours.
No, it's green in my world, though.
It is. In your world, it's green.
Yes.
How long have you been watching the show for?
About, 2 minutes now.
Is this your first time watching Joe's Basement?
Yeah.
How long have you been doing acid for?
Acid? Only a couple of years.
Only a couple of years. So you've been doing acid 2 years longer than watching This Week in Joe's Basement.
Right.
Okay.
But I think they'll go well together.
Yeah, can you tell us, what do you like about Joe's Basement? What are your favorite scenes or characters or topics?
Joe stuffing his face with the Doritos in the beginning. Maybe you could switch some chips or something. Maybe put about, stack about 20 Pringles together and shove that in his mouth.
Uh-huh.
That would be a lot funnier, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we don't live around here now, but
So,
that's where it's filmed.
like it's legal and shit just to swear?
Yeah, you can swear on cable, and we come on after 11:30.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, what's your point with this,
Well, this show, we do a lot of different things. This show right here is just an exercise
So they passed
for people
chemicals
to,
which conveyed
stretch their
messages.
brains and see if they can
Sea
figure out who's
anemones,
lying.
for instance, use a chemical agent to alert the cells that food is present. At the same time, the communication through touch became necessary. When two protists met, they felt each other out to determine whether they were suitable organisms with which to mate. Soon after, hormones began to convey information. Multicellular organisms needed to be able to communicate within their bodies from cell to cell. So they passed chemicals which conveyed messages. Sea anemones, for instance, at the same time, the communication through touch became necessary. When two protists met, they felt each other out to determine whether they were suitable organisms with which to mate. Soon after, hormones began carrying information. Multicellular organisms needed to be able to communicate between cells within their bodies, so they passed chemicals which conveyed messages. Sea anemones, for instance, use a chemical agent to alert the cells that food is present. Humans still use hormones to
Well, watching you'll find out at the end of the show who's
just
the liar
to
on this Speaking
raise
Joe's
the body
Basement. Is this the first time
temperature
you've
in
watched the show?
response to
No, I've
infection.
been watching it off and on, and I feel guilty when I miss it, even though it's every other week.
Okay.
But, it's kind of a shame because, you've been in the papers for
Yeah.
the last month, and now everybody knows. So, I mean, it's great because you're getting exposure. But,
We're
it's
trying.
kind of a nifty, weird little thing. It's just great. Anyway.
Hold on a second. Joe's Basement, Dan speaking. You're on the air.
Yes, this is Elvis Presley. I'm calling from my house in Palm Beach, California.
Oh, cool. What have you been doing for the last 25 years, man?
Just looking for a TV show as cool as Joe's Basement.
And you found it. Cool.
Yeah, my satellite dish out in the backyard.
Well, in fact, you're wrong. He's telling the truth, actually.
Is he? He seems really uncomfortable telling the truth then.
Many people are. I think you probably noticed this in your regular life.
That's very true, actually.
Is this your first time watching Joe's Basement?
Yes. We just stumbled upon it.
Okay. Well, we're on every Monday night at 11:30.
Why do you do this show?
Why?
Yeah.
There are probably deep psychological reasons, need for attention, all sorts of inner problems and conflicts that I need to work out. But basically, I just like being on television.
Joe's Basement, Mo speaking. What's up?
Oh, you're the biggest fucking liar.
I'm the biggest fucking liar?
Yeah, and I hate you fucking Hyde Park freaks.
First of all, you ain't even seen none of the other motherfuckers, and I ain't no Hyde Parker, okay?
Freaks.
Freak? What's your name, man?
My name is John.
And what do you do?
John, I live on the north side of town.
So do I, so.
Well, what's the deal with you guys are the biggest freaks, I swear. Like, don't you have anything better to do?
Have you seen the show before?
Yes, I do quite often.
Well, obviously you're still watching, so,
Well, we just flip it off after you, guys drive us crazy.
so you watch until we piss you off, huh?
Yeah, it'll probably be like another 3 minutes, and I'll be turning the channel.
Good evening, Joe's Basement. Joe speaking. You're on the air.
Hello?
Hello, this is Joe.
This is God.
It is?
I'd like to compliment on your show. This is the most Christian entertainment I have seen since Jim Baker.
It is, huh?
I'd like to compliment you, and you have a straight ticket to heaven.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks for calling.
You're welcome.
Anytime you need anything, just call.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Keep on going, man.
So, it's a pretty good program. Weird, but it's all right. Better than some of the other shit they got on TV.
How long you been watching for?
Oh, I don't know, probably about 2 months.
Okay, you've been telling all your friends about us, I hope?
Yeah, I've told them, but they said, man, I've seen it, it's weird. So, that's how far that goes.
Good evening, Joe's Basement. Joe speaking. You're on the air.
Hey, Joe.
Yes.
Just called to say we enjoy your show.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much.
But I have have noticed that I enjoy it better when I'm high than when I'm not high.
I see.
Right now it is rambling on a little bit.
Yeah, that was actually intentional to get people to call in instead of just watching. But,
Oh, really?
Yes, but you're one of many people who claims that getting stoned and Joe's Basement go well together. In fact, you're not the first person this evening to tell us that.
Oh, well, that's good. That's good. I mean, the basement seems to be, you know, kind of a good place to be stoned. But I also like when you guys get real serious, too.
You do.
I mean, like some of the interviews and stuff like that I think are really cool. And,
Any particular subjects that are your favorites?
I can't remember because I was probably stoned, but,
Organisms
the one where you
use
had the big
pheromones to
wrench,
communicate
that
with
was
each other.
Okay.
Monads and protists began the practice of releasing complex polysaccharide substances into the water around them. These compounds allowed for transmission of fax machines allowed for communication over very, very long distances, able to laser quickly reproduce exact facsimiles of various artistic and graphic designs. As communication through touch became necessary and two protists felt each other out, they could now leave messages on voicemail systems, which allowed us to leave messages for whoever we wanted, whenever we wanted to. Microwaves. Microwaves went zipping through the air, just sending all kinds of sound through which people could like pick up a little radio and talk into it, and policemen use them all the time to talk to each other, and firemen, forest rangers, astronauts use them. They talk, Houston to ground control, Houston to ground control, aliens in the sector.